Yeah, I don't like the hashtag fraud squad thing. Here's my problem with that. Again, it goes directly to the level of you're my enemy and your intentions are bad. I'm a big believer in, I know who my enemies are. My enemies are, yes, the corporate Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Democratic leadership. They're my enemy. I'm more than happy to say that.
Yeah.
The Justice Democrats are not my enemy. They're my bad ally. They're my ally who needs to
They're
go
just fucking up. They're just fucking up. They're not
exactly right.
villains forever.
Yeah, I agree.
That's exactly right.
I agree. Yeah,
and so that's why the fraud squad thing I did not agree with, because the second you go to the level of I'm going to attack these people's intentions, you lose me because you're just wrong. So here's how you know there's a difference between Pelosi and any member of the Justice Democrats. When the day comes where there is a vote on Medicare for all, every single Justice Democrat will vote for it. Nancy Pelosi will vote against it. If you're willing to overlook that nuance and that distinction, you're just an idiot. You're just dumb.
I mean, also, as disappointed as I can sometimes be with like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is also a sitting congressperson who's not taking like corporate donors, like corporate money, and that alone is so huge and such a seismic difference. You know what I mean?
It's a seismic difference, and
as much as people want to not acknowledge that and just hate because it's you want to be loud online, but like
we're trying to own her on that exact point. People were trying to own her and then posted her. Where her donors were from, and a lot of the money came from Amazon. Come to find out, every single penny of that was from Amazon workers.
Yeah, they did that with Bernie too, right? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's the same dirty trick they used on Bernie. But the sad thing is, I think there were some people who were earnestly thinking that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was taking like big Amazon money from Jeff Bezos or something, which is absurd.
Thank you for welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's popping, my friends, my family? We are back with another episode of Nick and CJ. That's always a funny clip because they swear that these people are not sold out, that they're not beholden to corporate interests. So when AOC and Bernie votes for war, they're purely doing it for the love of the game, apparently. Like doesn't it make it worse? Because like Joe Manchin and Biden, they get money from weapon defense contractors. Right. So they're like, yeah, we vote for war, nigga. Look at their stock. AOC and them, they say they don't take their money, but they still vote to increase their budget.
Doesn't that make that worse? Yeah. Doesn't it make it worse that you're taking money from hardworking Americans, poor, who are expecting you to do something for them, yet you're sending money to Ukraine? Yeah. To me, that's worse than a person who is saying, look, I'm sold your bitch ass out. Yes, Amazon paying me, motherfucker. I'm going on vacation. I have much respect to that person. He telling me up front what's going
look
on.
At us like they confused when we vote for them. They're like, shit, you vote for me? Shit. Y'all know what I'm about, nigga. You see my family. Y'all see how we roll, bro. You think I'm for the working class people? Meanwhile, Bernie and AOC, like, they have no excuse to make these mistakes that they easily excuse, right?
But this thing that Kyle, Nick, kind of banks on, and it's what the professional managerial class banks on, that's intentions versus their actual vote. They love to act like there's a separation. Well, long as her intentions are good, so her intentions are anti-war, but then she funds Ukraine. You get what I'm saying? Like it's such a way of trying to distance themselves from the awful things that they're doing or that they're adjacent to or that they're fine with by just simply teaming up with the Democratic Party. But answer me this question. What's the material difference between a bad ally and an enemy? What's the material difference? Intentions. What's the difference, Nick? In results, a bad ally is also not going to get you results as the same thing as an enemy. This is the white moderate argument. He is trying to tell you that the white moderate is okay because their intentions are good. That's what he's telling us. Go ahead, Nick.
In defense of politicians, like, why are you working that hard for politicians? Why are you not working that hard to defend activists and the ones that are smeared and attacked? That just shows their class priorities. And it doesn't even make sense. Like, if you're someone on the left, your job, especially if you're in the media, is to highlight the failings the people in the ruling class, so you can better educate the people among your reader base, your viewer base, so they can be more informed. What they are doing, they have more of a top-down approach where we defend AOC and the squad, and then everything will work itself out. It's ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous because this is a reason, because that strategy, Nick, means that we're never going to get, like, just tell me the people who have been in charge of the left, the ideology, they haven't been successful. So why are we still listening to them? But before we move on, let me make this point, because this is something they love to hang their head on. They're non-corporate. You saw that point they made at the end. They're not corporate. They don't take any money. That alone, really? Did you see the book deals? Is there not any other way to corrupt these people? How about staying in power and having a job that keeps you in the public eye and lots of followers and people fawning after you? Is that not corrupting the very position? Not corrupting, Nick, and keeping that position. So this idea, this is so 90s. This is so like in the 90s. Oh, you don't take corporate money. This will be seen as, this is Malcolm X Jr. That's what this will be seen as. But this is so Obama era. The non-corporate money thing, that don't fly anymore. Look how many people are non-corporate and they're voting for Israel. They're voting. Look at Jamal Bowman. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean that they're non-corporate? Go ahead, Nick. We can close out this.
It's like we debunk Kyle and the ridiculousness. Like, he invested in this because he found just Democrats. I think it'd be better for his reputation if he just admitted it was a bad strategy and move on. I think he really hurt his reputation. Like, continue
sticking with it. Sticking with it is the problem.
We have a lot of great topics. I'm gonna pass to you for introductions, but the first story we're gonna get to the Zelensky one. Zelensky. Person of the year.
Money launderer of the year.
Well, you can do the introduction and I'll do the story after that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So money launderer of the year, that's the graphic, and it's so silly to me that this guy is named person of the year. Now we have to maybe break down what it is, because maybe we're thinking person of the year means a good person. Yeah, because online somebody pulled up how Hitler was the person of the year one time, and they put that side by side. Maybe we'll show that picture, but that's the top story. Then we got some other stories. We have a story. What's the Israel story? Let me look at the Israel called out again at the World Cup multiple times. Go ahead, Nick, if you're going to chime in there.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead. You can do the announcements.
And then Democrats call out Ukraine aid oversight as a Russian disinformation or Russian propaganda, and then a couple of other smaller stories. But the other thing is, this is going to be a shameless plug, Nick. I don't know if you want to look away. My birthday's tomorrow. But now I'm old. I'm too old to be like wanting stuff myself. So for my birthday, just like last year, I want to do something for other people. So I'm doing another fundraiser, and I'm just gonna announce it now. This is the fundraiser. So CJ birthday fundraiser. I did one last year. CJ birthday fundraiser helps support a good cause, hospital bills, food security, and car work. So hospital bills, this actually is, some of this is for me. Hospital bills. I have to take my daughter to emergency. So I literally have, I'm not gonna even tell you, it's several thousand that I owe. And California hospital bills ain't no joke. It's literally the copay for emergency room is $200.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Is the copay. So my daughter's sick. Of course, money's not going to be an object. So I've taken her to her, and we just stacked up this thousands of dollars. But that's not what I'm requesting. Just a little help. So I got this hospital bill. Also, food insecurity in California. Now, it's not me, but it is a family member that I do want to help. So my mom is retired. My brother got her new roof. He's paying on that, so he's doing his part. My sister kind of lives on the property in another house, but on the property, and kind of takes care of her physically in person. So I want to do a contribution to my mom's situation. So with this inflation, of course, this is hard on elderly people. So their fixed income doesn't go up. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't go up enough to cover everything. So I want to just make sure my mom, and she is, Nick, she is old school. Like if she's used to not having food. She grew up as a her parents were sharecroppers. So she grew up like this. So she's not coming home. She's not telling us, hey, I need this, I need that. I have to go over there and look through her fridge and be like, okay, I need to make sure you get this and that. So just looking for a little help in those areas. When I help out my mom, when I get some car work done, can't even drive one of our cars because the lights are out. So whatever you can contribute for CJ's birthday fundraiser, there's the Venmo, there's a Cash App. Make sure you put CJ birthday fundraiser because we're also running a different fundraiser. I don't want to get
yeah. Make sure you guys leave notes and let's take care of CJ because he put a lot of work in for the channel. So
let's take care absolutely.
Of him,
whatever you could do, and I'm gonna post this on Twitter, and I'll let you know when I do that. Whatever you could do, whatever help. That's why I'm not gonna put an amount because if I told you the amount, it'd be ridiculous. So whatever you can contribute. Well, I'll put a little bit in each area just to kind of help. You know how Black people know how to pay shit. We know how to put a little bit on that, put a little bit on that to keep things going. So whatever you can do to contribute, I'll toss the Venmo back up there. And again, birthday. This is just for my birthday. I don't usually do this for myself, but hey, it's my birthday, so I'll ask. Instead of presents, that's what I'm asking for. All right, so the other thing is we're going to do a like check and a chat check. But before we do that, Nick, I don't know if you've seen our Substack, but our Substack is blowing up since the Discord.
I need to log in again.
I'll send all of that. I think it's the same as everything, but I'll double check because it might be different. You know how they always have to put a little, little special character or something like that. I'll check. But our Substack is blowing up ever since the launch of our Discord. So Discord launched a few days ago, but it's exclusively for our Substack followers or members. I don't know the correct name. So our Discord has launched. We have over 150 people already.
Yeah, I'm posting there all the time. Discord too.
Yeah, so it's really blowing up. So if you want to be part of the Discord or you just want to get part of the mailing list where you get notifications when we go live, when we do articles, because that's coming up, I would say 6 to 9 months, we want to start trying to writing things, for our own Substack for people to start using us as sources, Nick, because that's something, we're journalists, so why can't we be used?
Yeah, that's how it started. That's why I used to do on my Substack before I started dedicating more time to the channel.
Right,
so
right.
That'd be dope to get back to. So
yeah, absolutely. So absolutely, all of that. Get on our Substack. Like the stream, and Nick, any good comments you see that
I can highlight the super chats.
Go ahead.
Well, at least a super chat I saw. Thanks for the 199 Brent, PMC favorite acronym CYA, cover your ass. Thank you, Brent, for the 199. And now I see a lot of solidarity. I appreciate the comments. Feel free to leave any super chats, and then we can read them for sure. And this is what we're gonna cover later, because I've been watching the World Cup, and there's been a massive amount of solidarity, like on purpose, on Palestine. And I'm gonna break this down because the United States and the West are doubling down in their support of the violent apartheid state of Israel. So because of that, they taken the advantage of this massive World Cup platform, and there are a ton of people that is waving Palestinian flags and victory. Israel media essentially being boycotted at this event.
I love seeing it though. I love seeing it. I can't wait till it's all when they put more and more clips together, because I've seen the first clip of the montage, but since then there's been several other single clips.
Yeah.
But this tells you that the United States is the only one on this camp. That's what this tells you. And United States voice is outsized, where Americans really think everybody thinks this way. And it's literally like, no, we're the only ones who have this sort of thinking. But last thing, 77 likes. We got 160 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 125. So that's another 50 likes. Another 50 likes. And this was the count yesterday. But I do know we have already crossed 900, 26,900. So let's give you the update here, and then I'll pass it to you, Nick, for the first story. It's 100 exactly. So 924 exactly is the update. So we're actually they're making it close, Nick. Our followers, our supporters, they're liking, they're sharing. So continue to do that. The goal was 30K, and we're literally 3,000. We're about to hit 3,000, only 3,000 down from the goal. That is extremely, extremely close. Never thought we would have this. We're not even 2 years old. April is our anniversary, so I think that's another another 5 months. So we're a year and a half, and we're approaching 30,000. So continue to like, continue to share, and back to you, Nick.
So our main story today, and this shit writes itself. This is so predictable as well. Zelensky was made the Times Person of the Year, right? And I want to pull this tweet up from my friend Hassan, where he explains, and I want to show you guys the Time headline. And I understand, and we're going to talk about what it means to be Times Person of the Year. But let's read this tweet from Hassan. Zelensky has been made Times Person of the Year. What a joke. This is a man who refuses to attend peace talks and is working overtime to start nuclear World War III. He should be named the most dangerous person of the year. Do you guys remember the Poland missile crisis, where it was exposed, and even the United States said early on to prevent a crisis that, yeah, it was Ukrainian anti-missile systems. It was an accident, and Poland was more than happy to back down as well. So, we good, right? We good. War shit happens, right? That makes sense. Even though Ukraine did, I'm glad they didn't escalate. Yeah, shit happens, right? Meanwhile, Zelensky was like, Russia did it. This unhinged maniac. Russia did
Nick,
it.
that was even after the United States said that Russia didn't do it. He still was like, no, they did. I remember that.
What article? What was that, like Article 5? Article 5.
Yeah.
He's like, we need to go to nuclear global war. And then he was called out for it. He said, nah, we made no mistakes. Wasn't us. This is the Times Person of the Year. Now, I know people say stuff like, the Times Person of the Year, Hitler won it. It means the most influential person. But I want you guys to understand, this is 100% propaganda. For one, the Times Person of the Year should have been Xi Jinping. Look at BRICS. Look at the explosion and influence of China. He's the most influential person. But if you want to argue against me, fair enough. Okay, let's say because of the invasion of Ukraine that rallied the West, and now there's this massive Ukraine money laundering scheme that's going on. There's war with Russia. So shouldn't that mean Putin is the most influential then? Because Putin is the cause of that, not Zelensky, right? According to you guys. But this is what caught my eye. So it's not like, and I'm gonna show you guys this hard to sit through. This is gonna hurt. They're just our favorite propaganda. This is my favorite. My favorite propagandist, Morning Joe, had the person from Times on to talk about why they gave Zelensky the Person of the Year.
No.
So it's not like, I know you mentioned it earlier, CJ. There's some people that say, yeah, I know. Well, Zelensky, I know he's not great, but he was kind of influential. That's why they're doing it. Nope. It's not what you guys think. Because once again, I can make the argument it's other people, right?
Because if it's this war, if he's being named, and when people only know him because of this war, why isn't Joe Biden's face on there? Shouldn't it be Joe Biden? Why isn't it Putin?
If it's because of this war, wouldn't it be Putin because he invaded? They don't make Putin the most influential person, even though he obviously is, because they don't want to put him on the magazine. Now, ask you what is it really about now? Yes, they put Hitler on the magazine, but they ain't changed. They need a PR victory for Zelensky, guys. They need to make
That's
him.
What they use this for. It may be the technical reason, Nick. It may be some sort of technical reason, but the Times, along with the United States government, use this as a way of propping up some sort of propaganda story now. So whatever it was in the past and whatever they say it is, they do use it for this reason, for propaganda tactics. This happens to be one that they're using it for.
Yeah, and this is a guy who banned opposition media, banned opposition parties, and something that should have the right in every country freaking out. He's against the freedom of religion. This is a few days ago. Ukraine bans the activity of religious organizations affiliated with centers of influence in Russia. So this was the Orthodox Church.
It's ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous.
So this guy is openly anti-freedom of religion, anti-freedom of the press, ban opposition parties. The entire West is praising a raging fascist.
You notice how the United States are always friends with people like this, like Israel, like Saudi Arabia. Like, do you notice that, Nick? Like, do people think that good guys just have a bunch of bad guy friends? Is that what the United States think? They think like the good guys just hangs out with a bunch of bad people. Is that what they think? It just United States sees themselves in all of these other countries in some sort of way. And we played this video before, how the United States sees Israel, for example. Israel is the United States several hundred years ago when they came here and did the same thing. Yes. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they are looking at them like, look at you, look at the lad, look at him and look at the little imperialism boy. The lad is very young. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the United States, that's why they're okay with all these atrocities happening. We're calling out human rights while meanwhile Yemen is going on. Like, is that serious? Go ahead, Nick. It's not serious.
I want to highlight a comment from my friend Didi. She's great at debunking propaganda against the DPRK in particular. Mm-hmm. She said, what the Ukraine under Zelensky is doing, the Western media is claiming the DPRK does. Like, in Didi and a lot of many anti-imperialists who specialize on DPRK, their priority is to debunk the lies. Like, people really believe that the North Koreans worship this guy as a god, that they're not allowed to go outside without permission. The West just lies about this country. And I'm not saying that, like, you don't have to say the country's perfect. You're not saying the country's great by acknowledging that everything the West says about the DPRK is false. I
used to believe some of this stuff, about 10 years ago, probably like 10 years ago, no, maybe 8 years ago. I used to believe, because I like literally like the stuff, even like the ridiculous stuff, like, what? You eating babies? Like, I'm just making up stories, but it was ridiculous. Like, remember he was on his deathbed and it was like, and then he didn't, all of a sudden, like, he was about to die. Like, how many stories? They just come up with these just crazy stories.
They don't have a homeless crisis in the DPRK. You know why? They're Marxists. They have their own unique style, Jusei ideology. So I'm gonna give you guys a story to let you guys know what the DPRK is really about. And it's a story that Didi taught me because she's wrote about this a lot. 1 year they grow a lot of peaches in North Korea, right? 1 year they had an overabundance where they grew way too many peaches for whatever reason. You know what they did? They started handing out peaches for free to the population. You know what they do in the United States? They throw the food away because they don't want to have food inflation. The DPRK provide what they have to their people. So that's why they provide housing to their people. That's why you don't see homeless people all over the DPRK. They do not have a high standard of living, but that is because the West sanctions. The West has isolated and destroyed the DPRK, and they had tried their best to survive despite Western aggression. That is you don't have to praise the country to understand this.
Right.
And I used to, I'll pass to you, CJ, but to your point, I used to believe a lot of that stuff too. A lot of bullshit they used to tell you, like the DPRK people think that their leader don't take a shit. Like, this is all obvious bullshit. And then people will go, like people will go to North Korea, like people like Dennis Rodman and other journalists. They will go to the DPRK and they will say, whoa, this place is nothing like you guys said it was. So you want to know what the response is? The United States say, well, the DPRK have a very complex acting media apparatus. So whenever they have tourists here, they set up a fake city. Guys, what is more likely? I'm going off a tangent. I apologize. But what is more likely? This country is able to spontaneously create a fake city, create fake food, and trick every single tourist that ever visit the country, or maybe the West is lying about them a bit. Which one seems more likely? So I went on for a tangent. Steve, do you want to add? I'll get back.
Yeah, no. What I got from a lot of what you were saying in the beginning, and maybe people have said this analogy before, but not analogy, but Marxists are almost like environmentalists, just being a Marxist. Because think about under capitalism how they're producing things just to sell, not producing things for people's needs. So that's why they throwing away all the stuff. And you're pointing out in the story about North Korea how they gave the food away. You get what I'm saying? Think about what that does to the environment. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? You're trying to produce so much food because you're just trying to have them on the shelves to sell. Oh, that food went bad, throw it away. Food should be grown to feed people. These things should be done. So anyway, we don't want to get off into
one last thing. Go ahead. One last thing.
I thought that was a curious point. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one last thing. We'll get back to the topic. This is a great topic. The DPRK had beer festival. Do you guys know the DPRK has a giant beer culture? Do you guys know in DPRK marijuana is legalized, and the leader likes marijuana? Like, these are things as anti-imperialists we need to humanize the enemies of our state. What people believe is about North Korea is absolutely bonkers. Like, they believe that the DPRK is the prison state that the United States is. But anyway, we can move on because we used to talk about this all the time in tourist spaces. We can do a whole show on DPRK. But anyway, let's move on because the point that she brought up before I got we got derailed a little bit was that Ukraine is everything that they say the DPRK is. Everything that they demonize our enemies of being. That is what Zelensky has done. Banned opposition media. He has literally ended freedom of religion. He ended workers' rights to bargain and organize. He is a capital F fascist. Times person in the year. Now I understand if they did a Hitler style time person of the year, this would make sense. But that is not what they did. Morning Joe. I'm so happy they had the one. I'm so happy they were the one to get this guy on. I told you guys they do good in ratings considering like morning shows and everything, but I swear to God they're the best at propaganda. Like no one is better at tricking their audience than them and Tucker Carlson. I think the 5 from Fox, who I can't even watch, Tucker Carlson and Morning Joe. Those are like the top 3 in terms of like.
I can't watch the 5 for more than like 2 minutes. I can't watch that.
I can't do the 5. I can watch Tucker and Morning Joe out of curiosity. There's some shows that I can't even do this. I can't do it. And 5 is one of them. I can't do this. But anyway, let's watch this. Let's watch this.
What's her name? Reed. Reed is another one maybe for me. Joyanne Reed. It's real hard for me to watch her. Like she has to have a guest that I'm really trying to get Oppo on or something. It's really hard for me to sit.
She is such an aggressive sellout. She is an aggressive sellout. So it's
happy about it.
Hard. It's so hard. It's so hard to listen to her. So let's this is and this she's so annoying, such a propagandist. So they had the Times editor on to explain why they get Zelensky Person of the Year. And this is about a 6-minute video. Just a heads up, I made it about 90 seconds before I threw up and tapped out. So I know about 90 seconds of this, and then everything else we kind of go in blind. So I saw 90 seconds, and I'm like, I want to show CJ this shit. So everything after 90 minutes, we going in blind. So let's try to see how much we can dive in. And this is aggressive, relentless propaganda. So let's dive into it.
What is this?
CJ, let me know if the audio is good and everything. Just let me know.
This year's Time Person of the Year.
It sounds good.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And joining us now to discuss this year's selection, Time Editor-in-Chief Edward Felsenthal. We're going to talk about what this means, but we have to say we had your colleague on the other day, and we gave him a lot of trouble because the short list was so what's the word? It's hard to find. It was long, first of all, and it's hard to find anybody.
So once again, Paul, let's look at this, right? I would rank Zelensky maybe 3 out here, to be honest. Like I would put Xi Jinping number 1, hands down, not even close with it. Like you guys know, China's.
This is of the world, right? This is of the world, not just the United States. The Times Person of the Year is of the world. China is
about to surpass the United States in GDP. And guys, that was the last thing capitalists in the West would hold on to. When China surpassed the United States in education, infrastructure, they said, "Oh my God, population, life expectancy, low population." They're like, "We still got GDP," and now they're gonna pass on GDP. They're gonna say population again. So, guys, I think, and because of BRICS, and because of like Xi Jinping and China peeled Africa completely away from the West. It has been incredible. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. Specifically his Africa.
We just had a clip that came out today. God bless our new editor. Where
Aaron, shout out to Aaron. Everybody give love to Aaron. Make sure you donate. Go ahead.
Xi Jinping called out Justin Trudeau to his face, and whenever they have these big global meetings, the story is about Xi Jinping. You guys understand that? When Biden and Xi Jinping met for the first time, that was the story. He's the guy with the biggest dick in these global events, and everyone knows it. That's my argument. I'm willing to admit, like, if you guys disagree, leave a comment. Like, this is a discussion. I'm not the king here, but this is my personal opinion. Like, I wouldn't put Zelensky there. I'll put Elon Musk too because everything that's been going on this year. He's been dominating the headline. He's the world's richest man. Like, if you're gonna go by this capitalist logic that they do, you put him up there, right? That's just my top 2. I'll put Xi Jinping first, and then I honestly will rank Zelensky number 3. The person on this list that deserves absolutely last though is Liz Cheney. What the fuck is he doing there? What the fuck?
But this goes to the point. This goes to the point, Nick, that I made. This list is a propaganda list too.
Yes,
sir. There's absolutely no reason protest in Iran should be on there as maybe as a final. Okay, I'll give it as a finalist, but it wasn't selected. The DeSantis being on there, I see that as propaganda. Liz Cheney, you pointed it out being funny too. Liz Cheney, I don't see why Liz Cheney. And who is the bottom left person? Who is the bottom left person? I don't even know who that is.
And I think Janet, is she one of the people in the Trump trial? I don't know. I don't even know her. I don't know her and Mackenzie Scott. But if you want to disagree with me regarding Xi Jinping being number 1, Elon being number 2, I would say Ron DeSantis at least deserves to be on that list. Because the
top 10, maybe.
Yeah, so but like when you see Liz Cheney on that list, I swear
that's a joke.
None of you guys can disagree with me on that one. I want to grant you guys on the first. No one can disagree with me the fact that Liz Cheney is the worst.
That is
she lost her primary this year. She lost her primary.
I would probably go with China president. Man. I would have Vladimir. I would have Vladimir Putin up here.
Yeah,
so I would put Vladimir second. Yeah, but of the people, if I had to people of the people, but I would put Vladimir Putin second. Is who I would have second is Vladimir.
Ask yourself that, guys. Why is Putin not even on this list?
That's how is he not even considered? And but Liz Cheney, are you kidding me?
You guys think this is neutral? Like, even though it's like if you're a liberal, you hate Ron DeSantis. He serves U.S. empire. He's part of your team.
Yeah,
it's okay to prop up someone that the empire benefits from. But Putin, 100% the enemy. Like, there's no doubt that if you're gonna go by the argument that person of the year does not mean good, it means influential, and that's what people are saying.
They're saying that's what they're saying.
Justify Zelensky. I have a question for you because I want you to be consistent here. I think my pick is consistent either way. Like whether it's influential, I think it's Xi Jinping, right? Anyway, let's continue this video. I just wanted to break down.
I think the Supreme Court is up there too. I think the Supreme Court, I think the top 3 or 4 should be up there. That's fine. I think that's right. Go ahead.
The only 4 here that makes sense is Xi Jinping, the U.S. Supreme Court, Elon Musk, and Ron DeSantis. That's my opinion. And actually, Zelensky, he deserves to be up there. He don't deserve to win it. Like I think you put him in like.
And what did Janet Yellen? Did she do something recently?
I don't know
Like
who
the
the fuck
Fed
she
chair
is.
would be up there before Janet
who the
Yellen
fuck
to
is-
me.
Am I brainwashed? Who the fuck is Janet Yellen? Who's that? I don't know.
She is one of the Fed, one of the financial persons. I forget her title at the moment. She's like the first female.
Who's Mackenzie Scott? Again, hold on, let's see.
I don't
Mackenzie.
know. Yeah,
Is that the
she
leader?
has-
Is that leader of the? Hold on, I gotta check. I think that
Janet
might be-
Yellen. When I look up her name, watch, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah,
I think
Janet
I may
Yellen.
know who
Yeah.
Mackenzie.
U.S. Yeah,
Who? American novelist. Who the fuck is that?
Okay.
Who the fuck is that?
She's the Secretary of Treasury. That's it. Yeah, she's the top treasurer. So Secretary of Treasury is Janet Yellen. Like Fed chair maybe, but not her. I wouldn't put her. I would put the Fed chair above her if it had to be a
I
financial
have
person.
no idea what these motherfuckers. I had no idea what these motherfucking capitalists talking about. But anyway,
All right, you continue the video,
All right, so-
sir.
and I'm not trying to be mean here, but gun safety advocates, did they really win this year? Are they really influential?
That's another one
They're not.
that's like one of them. We're throwing you know how they just gonna add a black person to the Oscars even though they're not gonna win it. We gotta have a black person nominee. It's that type of thing. It's like we gotta throw these in so people think we care because they're really trying to spin Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is not done being in the public eye. She's gonna go into a cocoon and come out like a butterfly, but that butterfly is gonna be a Democrat.
Yeah,
You
she's
think I'm
still
joking?
young. She's still young.
She is they're trying to transform her, and this is one of the steps they're doing. They're trying to transform her. Go ahead.
So even going by your logic of influential, like gun safety advocates, they have no representation. What are you talking about? Well, they're just a list to make liberals feel good or something. I don't know. But anyway, let's
How is the
continue.
United States policing not up there with all the killings they're doing? Like that could be up there before Liz Cheney to me. Even just the defund the police.
Why not corporate profits?
Yes, that would never be up
there. Why are they not putting stuff there that would really make us mad?
Yeah.
Like,
how has Nancy Pelosi never been on there as much money she made as a speaker?
Why is real estate?
You tell me that.
How is real estate developers not on that list? They are making a fortune right now. They should have Raytheon.
Right. No, that's
the
that should be up there.
That's why when you guys leave, that's why when you guys take away with this statement, we should
start doing a RBN Person of the Year and nominate them.
Yeah, someone asked me.
So we can. Too. Ours will be way more accurate. We should start doing that, Nick. Maybe we'll talk about it offline and just come up with a quick little list.
Maybe we can ask Discord too. I can ask the homies.
Yeah, I think that's a cool little thing. We'll try to get.
So let's continue this video. I'll pause it for a while, but I wanted to have a mean discussion about the short list. So let's continue.
Who really stand trouble because the short list was so, what's the word? It's hard to find. It was long, first of all, and it's hard to find anybody who really stands to have impact that is truly global compared to Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yes, some years it's a pretty agonizing decision. This year was fairly clear cut. The rules of the game, the rules of this almost 100-year-old tradition at time is the person, or sometimes it's a group or an object, who's had the most influence on events in the world over the last 12 months, for good or for ill. Mm-hmm. And that's Zelensky. We also recognize in our choice the spirit of Ukraine,
What the fuck does that mean? Actually, I do know what that means, but it's actually pretty disgusting. But that's how you know this is not a neutral, this is just people who making a lot of noise on the global stage. That's not, and it's clear. The spirit of Ukraine. I'm allowing him to explain before I get.
But is this guy the CEO of Time, or who?
He's like the head editor, right?
Because look at this. CEO of Time posted their Time cover on LinkedIn. The comments are wild, giving praise. There were like a handful that called it out for what it is. People are. Well, people on LinkedIn just understand that's a lot of the professional managerial class, the petty bourgeoisie, that's going to buy into this. But go ahead, Nick.
Look, this guy is the editor-in-chief. So that's why this is, that, and he literally spells it out to you guys. It's not, We just doing propaganda for Zelensky here. He said clear cut Zelensky. We just had a conversation where I wasn't even sure. There's a lot of conversation and nuance on no clear cut. Obviously Zelensky, even though Lula, the leader of the biggest country in South America, who blames Zelensky. He blames Zelensky for the war.
Lula should have been on that list too.
Yes, why not Lula?
I forgot about that. He should have been on there too. Go ahead.
Who not on the list? This clown shit. So I'm gonna let the next part play, and this is where I quit. I told you I made about 9 seconds. So you can see this is literally the next part where I quit, and then we go in blind because they're gonna talk about the spirit of Ukraine, which is actually quite disgusting because despite what the media is telling you, there's like 100,000 Ukrainian troops that died, and Scott Ritter explained the Ukrainian government is lying. There's way more Ukrainian soldiers that have died. The Ukrainians are getting slaughtered. The people are living in cold and fear. And then, meanwhile, the people in the West that are comfortable and warm, they don't hear talking about the spirit of Ukraine. They're fighting the Russians on our behalf. Am I the only one who sees this as disgusting? So let me play it, and then you guys see exactly why I tapped out at this point.
The rules of the game, the rules of this almost 100-year-old tradition at time is the person, or sometimes it's a group or an object, who's had the most influence on events in the world over the last 12 months, for good or for ill. Mm-hmm. And that's Zelensky. We also recognize in our choice the spirit of Ukraine, this incredible wave of support, of volunteerism, of action and courage, both inside the country and out. And we tell some of those stories as well.
There's an amazing excerpt that there's so much good stuff in the interview with him. But we were talking earlier in the show with John Meacham about comparisons between Zelensky and Churchill. And Zelensky says, it's not Churchill for me, it's Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
I closed the video.
Well, what?
That's when I was done. At this point, we're going blind because I clicked that. I was done. You want to hear it again? And so everything past here, we're gonna probably watch another minute.
At this point, guys, we're going in blind, guys. Like we're going into a cave. At this point, guys, we're on your own, okay? We're on our own, guys.
Yeah. At this point, I have no idea where this shit's gonna go, guys. This shit can go. This shit can get worse. So at this point, I realized that because I was wondering, I wanted to hear from this guy. That's why I wanted to watch it to do research for you guys. It was literally nice at this point. We're like, okay, this is not objective. This is this guy doing propaganda. This is the Times doing propaganda, right? Is it clear? This is not.
Now, let me say this.
Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
Morning Joe is the show that's literally not speaking to us.
Not at all.
Not at all. They're not even. They know who their audience is, which is rich people that own a lot of stock, millionaires, the Michael Bloombergs. So that's who their audience is catering to. Because you might be hearing stuff like that is so disconnected from reality. Not the people who watch him.
Yep.
Not the people who watch them. That is exactly right. Yeah, so what Zelensky he's great. That's exactly what they're thinking.
And look at this.
They're not hearing RBN. They're not even hearing Breaking Points. They're not hearing any of that. They're literally getting the New York Times like shot into their vein. You know what I'm saying? And Morning Joe. So this is completely reality to them. This is 100% reality to them. Go ahead, Nick.
That's on point, CJ. And that premise that you just brought up is why I personally find Morning Joe fascinating. Because
I do
you're literally looking at two different societies. The society that these people are living in is completely different from my reality, the CJ reality. Because now they about to get to Winston Churchill, the genocidal maniac. And look at how they talk about it. They talk about these maniacs with the highest of praises.
They do this all the time on this show, Nick. I know you know because you watch it.
Yeah.
I record it because I do go to Joe to find any big news. I make sure I have Joe record it because he's going to talk about it the way that the ruling class wants to hear it. And that's what I want to hear. Well, how are they talking about this amongst their friends? And it's crazy. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna go back 15 seconds and then we going blind after that because I want to see what they say about Churchill. Like these people who are horrific people, right? Look at how they just talk about it nonchalantly.
Incredible.
We were talking earlier in the show with John Meacham about comparisons between Zelensky and Churchill. And Zelensky says, it's not Churchill for me, it's Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
Oh.
Well, what Zelensky
You guys hear
understands as a
Mika?
former
You guys hear Mika had the biggest
she was
orgasm of her life. She's like, oh my god! Look, you guys hear that? Look, play that part again. Look at this. You see how excited she is? Is she really that good of an actor? I don't know, man. Like I know they're acting, but
you don't know when you don't know when the ruling class is believing it themselves. But you tell me, you go watch Hunger Games and the people on those TV shows, and you tell me this doesn't resemble the way they talk and all their fake emotions. It's identical to those people on that host those TV shows on the Hunger Games. Go watch that shit. Go ahead.
So listen to Mika. I just want to play. Cause I told you I'm going blind at this point. That's just hilarious. Listen
They
to
do
how
this all the time,
excited-
though, Nick. They love these historical figures.
Yeah.
Thomas, he'll be like, yeah, Thomas Jefferson. Now that rainy day in August when he stood on that boat and he looked to the north. That's how he talks. That's what he does.
That is their version of Norse mythology. I've been playing me and Ron. We've been playing God of War. Like I love Norse mythology, like Thor, Odin. Like
yeah.
I think that's super fascinating. Like, and when you look at old school Scandinavia, they were talking about these stories. That's how the ruling class is with Ronald Reagan. They talk about the old school. In Morning Joe, I know you watch the show. He does this shit all the time. He glorified the days of the American patriot, the Reagan era.
yes, all the time on this show. Go ahead, all the time. I watch it because they're always bringing up some figure.
We just watched a little bit more of this video, not too much. We're not gonna finish it, and I'll move on to the next part. We just have fun now, but listen to Mika as I play it again.
Churchill. And Zelensky says, it's not Churchill for me, it's Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
Oh.
Well, what Zelensky understands as a former entertainer, is that maybe the most valuable currency in the world is attention, and he has used that to really extraordinary effect. And I think the link with Chaplin is intentional. Chaplin through World War II was calling attention to atrocities, to making fun of Hitler and rallying people in a way that sometimes politicians can't, and we journalists and others in the world, can't bring attention to in the same way. And that's what Zelensky's been doing all year.
Oh my God, this is so fucking ridiculous. All right, let's keep playing. I'll play.
Think about who's listening. Just
oh my God.
Just think about the person who's listening to this and they're going, "What? He did that? He was this brave?" Like, just think about that person. They're about 55 plus, 60 years old, millionaire, of course, living in a posh penthouse, sipping wine right now, watching this, and they're like, wow. They think this is informing them. Go ahead.
So if Zelensky is as influential and as powerful as these people claim he is, why is he calling for peace? Why is he creating peace? He is not responsible for the mechanism that he just laid out. The West is. Zelensky is the puppet. He said, oh my God, Zelensky is incredible. His ability to rally the world behind him. No, that's the United States twisting the arm of every single Western nation and saying, get behind Zelensky. And then this guy say, oh my God, Zelensky, amazing organization skills. If that was Zelensky, why is he getting peace done? If he's so powerful. God, let me continue. And then once again, I really do want to move on. This is so ridiculous. I don't want to watch 30 more seconds at best.
Who would have imagined 9 months ago that we'd be sitting here and he'd even still be around? It's an extraordinary story.
Yeah, and in many ways, if we had rewound, you're right. If we rewound 9 months, you worried that Ukraine would fall to Russia in our days. But if we rewound a year or a year and a half, it'd be hard to imagine a less likely choice than Volodymyr Zelensky, someone who was an entertainer, a comedian, who, came into power, immediately got himself ensnared in a Trump scandal. But we didn't see anything there that anyone saw anything there that would lead us to believe that he could be so brave, so heroic, so inspirational, and really a rallying point for all of democracy.
Yeah, and
yeah. McDonald's workers are like, they're eating this shit up right here. They are not talking to us at all, Nick. This is not a conversation whatsoever to us. Whatsoever. Are they talking to anybody who makes under about $5 million a year? They're not talking to anybody that makes under that. It's so preposterous. I would even say they're not even talking to like AOC level people. They're not even talking to them at all. Yeah, they're not even talking to them. It's like Pelosi up. It's like Pelosi up. Like Kevin McCarthy is looking through the window. Like he's barely even looking through the window. Like all the Congress people are just at the window to who the people they're talking to, man. They're not at all. They're talking to CEOs. This show is tailored to the ruling class. That's why it's such a treasure when it comes to propaganda and the style and why they do it so good.
Yeah, and the real reason Zelensky is getting Person of the Year, the reason why the West loves him, because he's probably the greatest arms dealer of all time. There's record. I'm gonna show my screen now. This is the reason why the media really loves Zelensky. They praise this guy like he's a hero, and he ran on peace. And not only did he plunge his country to war, he trying to plunge the war into global war. The champion of democracy said the guy who banned the freedom of religion, said the guy who banned opposition parties, banned opposition media. This is the reason why they love Zelensky. Arms sales by world's biggest defense companies raised to almost $600 billion. Now, I'm going to share this video by Claire Daly.
That's ridiculous.
And once again, this is, and Bernie Sanders and AOC's vote is responsible for this, guys. I'm going to keep bringing it up because that's the direct cause and effect.
Absolutely.
Al Kalinske don't think they're the enemy, but they did a vote, and that vote directly led to record profits for defense contractors and weapon manufacturers. How can you fuck up that bad as a socialist? They accidentally gave the weapon manufacturers record profit.
Oops! Accidentally broke this strike. Oops!
Anyway,
I
bring that up once again because they're the best among us. They're the best among us. The quote unquote best among us is doing that. So here, Claire Daly calling out the Ukrainian money laundering scheme that has made so many people in the elites rich, so many of their future geopolitical agenda becoming true. So they love Zelensky. So you guys know we love Claire Daly here. She about break it down. This is a clip that she posted on her Twitter yesterday, at least. So let's check this.
Billions of EU assistance going to Ukraine are not free. They're loans, which Ukraine will default on. And they come with neoliberal strings attached. If you listen to The Economist, Ukraine is marked for a nightmare round of shock therapy, a sell-off of public land, deregulation of labour, sale of public assets. On it goes. The country's future is being sold to finance a proxy war that's tearing it apart. And of course, the loans have preconditions that Ukraine must uphold democracy and rule of law. But since the tap was turned on, Zelensky has banned most opposition parties, shuttered the media, attacked trade unions and workers' rights. But the billions keep flowing. This is a country our Court of Auditors have said was a country accused of grand corruption. And on it goes while the EU policy seems designed to prevent peace and keep the war going at all costs as long as ordinary people pay. So between Russian tanks and European banks, there'll be little left of Ukraine when this is over. Don't forget, war is a racket and there's going to be hell to pay for this one.
Yes, my sister, Claire Daly.
Man, why can't we have somebody like that, Nick? Why on a national level? We have Shama, but why can't we have anybody like that, man? It's so disappointing to see her.
All we want AOC and Bernie to say that? How much is that to ask for? Okay, I know people get mad because I always go after Bernie and the squad. Niggas always so mean to him. Niggas always so mean to these millionaires.
Because they always suck. That's why we always go after them.
If they were doing Claire Daly shit, I would look dumb for going after them. Right? Am I doing Claire Daly bashing videos? Am I doing videos bashing Mick Wallace? No. That's something I want you guys to understand. Just get things right. And she called out the Ukraine money laundering scheme. Now it's one transition to our next story here. Where you have, it's obvious Ukraine is the bastion of corruption. And that would what Claire Daly called out there. And the West have a plan to put Ukraine in debt, to destroy the region, to stabilize it, but they don't care. They're going to become rich. And that is what the people who actually care about the Ukrainians are mentioning. So you had the corporate media freaking out because people are starting to ask questions. Yo, you guys know that we sent so much money into Ukraine that it's more than Russia's military budget. And you guys still need more? What's going on here? Where's the weapon going? We see there have been reports of terrorist attacks and the weapons being traced back to the United States. So people were asking questions simply like, yo, can we do an oversight that has some auditing of this billions of money that we send? And I cannot emphasize this enough because some Republicans will lead the charge. But Republicans are full of shit, guys. And the media is melting down despite the Republicans saying, Republican leadership is saying, like Mitch McConnell, they're saying, yeah, we will continue to support Ukraine unquestionably. We will continue to write them a blank check. We just want to know where the money is going. You guys know that's the argument that comes from Republicans? Yes, you have the very small majority. It's a small minority, guys. Like maybe a handful. The Marjorie Taylor Greens who are saying we want to cut it off altogether. But the Kevin McCarthy in the general position is that we just want to audit the money and make sure it's going to the cause. Not that we're going to cut the money off. You guys understand that? That is not the argument that the Republicans are making. In fact, there is a mini civil war where the far right is mad at the quote-unquote rhinos for selling the money. They said, "What? I thought we were conservatives. Why are you sending all this money to Ukraine?" So you want to see the liberal response to them simply asking for oversight on this money that we already did a story. Only 10% of the weapons the Biden administration is checking. You had reports that came from, I believe it was CBS. I got to fact check that. I got to make sure I got the media company correct. But remember that story that came out that said only like 40% of the weapons are in the battlefield. And then the Ukrainian media melted down, the politicians melted down, the West melted down, and they forced them to take down the story. You have people legitimately asking these questions. And now, because the Republicans took the House, the questions are starting to escalate. And now the Democrats go with their token strategy, CJ. Rep. Adam Smith, the head of the so not a random Democrat, he's the head of the House Armed Service Committee. He says calls for Ukraine aid oversight are Russian propaganda. the party, and that's why, remember when we look at the list of gun advocates, gun violence advocates, they took the biggest L. They should not be on that list because the people who claim they care about gun violence created a gun epidemic that we're going to have to deal with for decades now. The shit's going nowhere. We're forever going to have a armed Nazi problem in Eastern Europe now. And not even Nazis. I don't want to mislead you guys. Not even Nazis. There are going to be terrorist cells that's going to get the hold of these weapons. Other radical-minded people. Other people who got access to the black market. So the party that is against ending gun violence is 100% okay with not only flooding the market with guns, but we don't care to know where it goes. That's what they're saying. If you care about knowing where the weapons are going, you are a Russian propagandist. Here's the Guardian. So once again, not only one guy. Just for the sake of time, I'm showing only a few receipts. This is an ongoing trend. If you watch Morning Joe on any segment on Ukrainian weapons, they will say this shit. They will say, like, if you're questioning our commitment to sending weapons to Ukraine, you're doing what Putin wants. Who cares where the weapons goes? Oh yeah, DHS said it's gonna cause problem in the United States and Brazil. So a lot of Nazis gonna keep the weapons and bring them back home. I live in Missouri, guys. They're KKK 10 minutes away from me. Now these motherfuckers might have access to weapons. Look at this. Top conservatives pushing Russian spin on Ukraine war. What? Top U.S. conservatives pushing Russia's spin on Ukraine war. And look at the subheadline. Some of the Kremlin's most blatant falsehoods aimed at undercutting U.S. aid. So these Republicans are literally just asking, hey, can we check on this aid? What were you doing with this aid? And they say, oh my God, you guys just undercutting U.S. aid. Let's look at the picture they use.
You're on Putin's payroll, are you?
Look at the picture they use.
Moscow Mitch. Is that what they call him, Moscow Mitch?
Yes. Dude, guys, look at Mitch McConnell. Guys, I'm glad he brought that up, CJ. Mitch McConnell is literally the biggest Putin derangement syndrome simp there is. He's all for this Ukraine proxy war. He has criticized Marjorie Taylor Greene and Kevin McCarthy publicly for questioning Ukraine spending. And they still call him Moscow Mitch. Look at the picture.
Because he wants oversight.
And the thing is, Mitch McConnell, he don't even care about oversight. He's not even one of those Republicans asking for that. That's how far gone he is. He don't even give a shit. They call him Moscow Mitch because he didn't believe that Donald Trump was a Russian asset. You don't believe in Russiagate, Moscow Mitch. Imagine having someone as corrupt and as detestable as Mitch McConnell, and the only criticism you can come up with is that he's a Russian asset. Even if that were true, that's not even the top 20 of the worst shit he's done. But let's analyze this propaganda. I'll be on the story for quite some time. We need to move on. But you look at the picture they use. Why do they have Steve Bannon here? What power did this guy have? You guys see? Look at the scary person. This guy agreed with limiting Ukraine funding. Are you Steve Bannon now? You guys see this propaganda they do? Ex-Trump advisor. Oh, are you an ex-Trump advisor? Are you a Trumper? See, CJ, most people don't even know this propaganda. I see it. This is what the message they're trying to send to people. The people who are questioning Ukraine aid, you might as well be Steve Bannon in liberal universe. CJ, for real. Think about.
I can't believe I used to be in this camp, but I never believed this stuff. Like, I voted for Obama, but I wasn't a registered
we was
Democrat.
never this bad.
Like, I never was 100 on like that. Man, it's like,
you gotta realize most people who vote Democrat, even when I voted Democrat in 2008, in 2012, like not because I believe in liberal ideology. I was like, I guess I'll choose lesser of two evils. Yeah, I know Marxist ideology.
I was okay with the lesser of two evil, is what it was.
Yeah, I don't like most people are not liberals. That shit is unnatural. So that's it with that segment. But I want to play this video. This is kind of another mini segment because it's related to Ukraine. Okay. And once again, this is literally almost not even a segment. I just want to play this video. Because
keep it with this segment with the Ukraine. We'll just add it at the end.
You keep it with the Ukraine segment. Because they put Zelensky as the most influential person, and look at the reasoning they use on Morning Joe. And they not because Zelensky's a clown, not because that he's infamous. He's on the Times Person of the Year because he united the world against Putin. Meanwhile, 80% of the population not going along with it. As I mentioned before, Lula in Brazil. I think the receipt actually would help. Here it is, because I gotta say, Rick, I think the receipt will help. Lula, the president of Brazil, which the country of Brazil on its own is like half of the population of South America, the largest economy in that region. Brazil Lula says Zelensky as responsible as Putin for Ukraine war. That statement will melt liberal heads, right? And they lost India, who said we're not going along. We don't view these people, Russia, as our enemy. We're gonna continue to buy Russian oil. Fuck off. So remember, CJ, they're not talking to us. They're not even talking to most of the world. They're talking to white Western chauvinists. Because what they're saying is not even true. That's why if you're going to pick anyone as person of the year and you're going to use the Ukraine war, you will pick Putin. Because Putin drags so many of the people in the global population against the West. The exact opposite of what they said Zelensky did. So let me play this clip. I'm not too familiar with this guy, to be clear. He's in India, a foreign minister.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty based. It's pretty based.
So let's play this video, and this is a good way to end the segment. I think it relates. I was wondering where I was going to throw it in. I just threw it at the end. So let's play this.
It does relate because the point that he's making applies to the Ukraine war, the proxy war. The point that he's making that America's problems is everybody's problems, but everybody's problems is not Americans' concern. So it's a great point to make about this Ukraine money being accountable. Go ahead, Nick.
We're perfectly capable of managing it. A lot of our problems in China have nothing to do with Ukraine, have nothing to do with Russia. They predate it. Somewhere Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems. That if it is you, it's yours. If it is me, it's ours. I think I'm 1/5 of the world's population. I am today the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. I mean, forget the history, civilization bit. Everybody knows that. But I think I'm entitled to have my own side. I'm entitled to weigh my own interests, make my own choices, and ship with China.
Think about what he just said there, and now you see the frustration that countries like India and China and African cultures are having, and you guys see the racist doctrine that come from the West, a full spectrum dominance. No, our white culture is on top, not you Indians, not the Chinese. European culture must be on top, and if it's not, we're going to destroy the global economy and launch us into global war. They're willing to risk it all in order to maintain the fact that the U.S. control the sovereignty of other countries. The UK is used to controlling India. We used to telling these countries, the United States is used to looking at Africa, telling it to shut the fuck up and fall in line. And now, for the first time, Africa's like, no, you know what? I'm riding with Xi Jinping. Yeah, India say, no, I'm gonna buy that Russian gas. But tell me more about how Zelensky, the most influential person. Xi Jinping gave these African countries an option. That's what I call influence. So, CJ, anything you want to add?
No, that's a great last point, though, for that. Go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
Yeah, I have 2 more stories, but was there anything you want to add? I don't think the other 2 stories are going to be as long as this one. Maybe 20 minutes each, maybe.
I do actually have a story that I want to do. It's a Bernie Sanders story.
We can do your story.
It's pretty sad, man.
We can do your story, and then I can chime in with my story.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this story is not going to be long. The video is like 4 minutes. It's pretty, and it's just Bernie talking. I'm sure you may have seen the video. I'll be right back. Go ahead. I'm going to do an intermission. I'm going to do some announcements before we get into the story. But it's pretty sad. Let me see where I have the video ready to go. Yeah, Bernie Sanders. It's not good, everybody. But anyway, let's do some announcements first. First thing, if you're watching this on replay, we're an hour in, or actually 70 minutes in, and you're watching this on replay, and you wish you saw this live, or we're 70 minutes in and you're just getting here live, you wish you knew earlier, just join our Substack and you will get sent notifications. Let me make sure you know what video this is. You would be sent notifications when we go live. Like today, it was sent about an hour before we went live. We send notifications about 15 to 30 minutes before we upload clips. So you'll get notifications of clips and live. Also, another reason to join our Substack is we just recently launched our Discord. So RBN Discord recently launched like a few days ago, and it's exclusively for subscribers to our Substack. So in order to get to our Discord, subscribe to our Substack. So subscribe, and we will be sending out that link again later today. And I think that's it for that. Also, this was our count when we started the show. 26924.
Also, CJ,
if you're brand
if you
new,
don't
go
mind,
ahead.
I just want to. Cause I saw someone ask. I think this is a good point. I'm gonna post I'll post a link in Discord on Patreon. I think our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that's
absolutely.
A good point,
that is a good point.
Someone
Do that.
comment that, so I'm gonna add that. So go ahead, CJ. I just want to add that to.
So I'll add that. So Patreon people and our Discord, subscribers to Substack will be receiving that, as you heard Nick make the announcement. We're at 266 likes. We have 370 people watching. Can we go to 325? Can we go to 325? That's like 70 or so more likes. So 70 more likes to get us to 325. That should bring in a few more people, because you're going to want to be here for this conversation about Bernie Sanders. It's not good. So Bernie sells, or I'm gonna actually change it. Shields for Dems. So this is Bernie's attempt of trying to spin the Democrats selling out workers as something other than what it was. So let's get to this video. It's about 4 minutes long. It shouldn't be too long. You let me know where you want to stop, wherever you want to stop it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Following what's been going on with regard to the crisis in the rail industry, let me just mention to you that yesterday, on Thursday, we had both a victory and a loss on the floor of the Senate. The victory was that we had every single Democrat except Joe Manchin vote to make sure that workers in the rail industry got 7 days pay.
Oh, Bernie. So Bernie is calling the fact that a bill did not pass, or legislation did not pass, but simply a certain amount of people voted for it, because he says we had a victory and a loss. The victory was that. Now, how do you cash in this victory, Bernie? Who is reaping the benefits of this victory that you're talking about, Bernie? It is terrible. Go ahead.
Bernie, you sweet summer child. You really think you can trick us socialists now? You got socialists all over the country calling this bullshit out, calling DSA and the squad out. DSA is in shambles because they're now a fraudulent socialist organization. And now Bernie's gonna sit here and pretend that they did not bust this squad, bust this union organizing effort. Oh, this gaslighting about to be incredible. This is about to be tough. I haven't seen this video yet. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
unbelievable.
Tough.
This is how Bernie spent his time, and people are gonna still push for Bernie 2024 after this shit. But go ahead, CJ.
Like, it's not even. That's not serious. Go into it.
Democrat except Joe Manchin.
Let me just restart it again right here.
Loss on the floor of the Senate. The victory was that we had every single Democrat except Joe Manchin vote to make sure that workers in the rail industry got 7 days paid sick leave. We also had, surprisingly enough, 6 Republicans coming on board that legislation. So we had a majority of members of the United States Senate, but given the absurd rules of the Senate, you needed 60 votes, and we did not have the 60 votes, so we lost. I should also add that
you hear how he just told you the loss, the win that he just told you is a win is a loss. He just told you that.
This motherfucker over here taking moral victories. Like all they do is just take moral victories. Well, technically, it's time to win. I know you lost. I know it's shame, but it will technically be a victory because I feel better now.
Like losing a house is somehow a win for Democrats. You lost the house because you didn't lose by 40 seats. That's a win for you. It's snatching a win from the jaws of defeat.
I don't know if you remember this, but because this was quite some time ago. Remember we covered toxic positivity, and Bernie is the number one victim of that. I mean, number one person who does it.
Yeah,
he does this toxic positivity. Oh my God, the Supreme Court struck down the homeless moratorium. Oh, don't worry, guys. All we're gonna do is keep fighting. Things gonna be great, man. It's just shut the you failed us. Things gonna be all. It's all gonna be all right. That's what Bernie always does. Guys, keep in mind because I know this for quite some time now. Oh man, we lost. We're not getting Medicare for all. Man, it doesn't matter, man. We got victory out of it. It's a moral victory because now more people talking about it. It is this toxic positivity. He breaks through everything, and we did stream. It was literally probably a year ago.
I remember the topic, not the stream, but I do remember the topic. But that's so funny.
This is what they. Pramila Jayapal also does this.
Yeah,
they do this, and I want to point out the reason why they do it. They do this to quell the anger that you're feeling. That we should storm. We should protest the White House. We should impeach Joe Biden and Bernie. And while the activists are saying that, Bernie's like, man, this is a win. He don't want you to get angry. He don't want you to be furious about the failures of this government. So then he always introduced toxic positivity. And I've been noticing this, especially ever since he dropped out.
People might be asking.
Yeah, go ahead.
People might be asking, well, what is toxic positivity? Toxic positivity, let me just give you an analogy or just a visual. It's like being positive about trash. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you're still being positive and it's literally somebody hands you like feces and you're, oh, this is great. Like, come on, bro. Like, just say what it is. And yes, he is absolutely doing that in this video, Nick. And it's terrible, man. It's heartbreaking to hear, but let's listen. Oops.
Where that our colleagues in the House did a great job, led by the progressives there, in making sure that legislation, that amendment passed the House. So I just want to say to the railroad workers out there, this is an issue we are not going to give up on. I'm a senior member of the Health, Education, and
Are you giving false hope?
Committee, and we're going to do everything.
Bernie, you are a member of the U.S. Senate. So I'll be short. I want to get the video going. But
I want to chime in here too. Go ahead.
He said, "Don't give up hope. We will not give up." But what do you mean we? You're a member of the U.S. Senate. This shit's not going to pass the Senate. What is your plan? He just want to tranquilize people, and that's what he's doing. But go ahead, CJ.
No, it's like these people know these are failures, but they have to find a way. That's why they always talk about messaging and not the delivery of actual goods. It's always about you got to change your messaging because they know they're not delivering, but you have to keep telling people it's like you have to keep telling the person starving when you're giving them a spoon of rice that this is a full meal.
Yeah.
That's how you trick the person. You're not starving. This is a full meal. That's what you have to keep doing. When you know you're not going to provide more, you got to go, well, it's better than nothing. You get what I'm saying? That's the sort of logic that you have to give. And it's freaking terrible, man. It's terrible what these people are doing to people. Terrible. But anyway, let's play more of this video.
It's one thing to celebrate wins, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's one thing to do that. They celebrate losses. They do this all the time. That's the toxic positivity. Anyway, go ahead, CJ. We can continue.
There's no way that this is a win, Bernie. So stop. There's no way. And the way he's spinning it. Go ahead. Let me play it.
Of workers in that industry having zero paid sick days. And, as I think many of you know, when we talk about the corporate greed that is sweeping this country, which disgusts so many Americans, I think that it's fair to say that the railroad industry, in many ways, is the poster child for that type of greed. You have an industry that in the first 3 quarters of this year made $21 billion in profit. They have so much money, they were able to provide $25 billion.
And Biden took the most money from them.
And dividends to their wealthy shareholders.
Right. It's terrible.
On top of that, the CEOs of the different railroads were making, in some cases, $20 million a year. One guy made $14 million a year. Other guy made $10 million a year. These guys are making money hand over fist. The business situation.
Yeah, Bernie, they are making money hand over fist. So why don't you answer me this question? I'm going to put this headline up, Nick. Answer me this question, Bernie. They're making money hand over fist. So why do you play a pivotal, crucial role in passing this anti-worker law? That's the question. Because what the veneer that Bernie is this great person is really just a veneer that this great crusader, I should say. Because this is all a joke. This whole 7-day pay, sick pay, that's all a front so he can come out and do this, what he's doing. Knowing that nothing is going to get delivered, but you can't keep not delivering, Nick, and people keep coming back to the well of electoralism. You have to keep telling them we're going to do this and this and that. You have to keep doing this. But let's scroll down here and let me just read this part for this segment and make sure this part is included. On Tuesday, House Democrats introduced a separate resolution originally drafted by Sanders in the Senate to add 7 paid sick days on top of the contract they are imposing. This was a sham aimed at providing political cover. It had no chance of reaching 60 vote threshold to overcome a filibuster in the Senate. Even if it did pass both houses, it would do nothing. It would do next to nothing to seriously address workers' demand. Keep in mind, 7 days is not even half of what they asked for. Now this is the part where we're going to get into where Bernie Sanders is full of shit in this video. Before the vote on sick day resolution, 3 out of the 4 DSA members in the House joined the vast majority of Democrats to vote in favor of imposing the contract, including AOC defending her vote. AOC later nonsensically claimed that her vote to block a strike and impose the contract was cast in order to allow Democrats to fight for 6 days. So her logic was, we have to break your strike, motherfucker, so we can try to squeeze in these 7-day sick days that's not going to pass the Senate. You see the sham?
When they was going to win anyway, when they was going to win, they had all the leverage. We're like, don't worry, we're going to help you even though we got all the leverage. You guys got all the leverage, but we're going to help you by screwing you. But sorry,
right.
Go ahead.
And they didn't have to vote yes, Nick. It would have passed without them. So it begs the question, why even vote yes when they don't even need your vote? But here's Bernie's part right here. Let me just skip down to Bernie. Yeah. Sanders' defeated proposal in the Senate was framed as an amendment to the anti-strike bill, whereas the House proposal to add sick days was voted on separately. This means that because both houses passed identical legislation with respect to the question of imposing the contract itself, the bill went immediately to the desk without delay. Any delay would have completely unacceptable to the ruling class, which was demanding the contract be imposed immediately well before December 9th. Now, here's the key, Nick. This December 9th deadline could not have happened without Sanders. And here's the part that's crucial to understanding this. And you know this part, but just for our audience sake, the most significant element of the voting in the Senate was the expedited procedure. Remember November 9th. In order for the expedited procedure, worked out in negotiation involving both parties and the White House, which requires, here's Bernie's part, unanimous consent of all senators. If either Bernie, the progressive Elizabeth, or anyone else had objected to it, the vote would have been delayed. and they would not have been able to pass this legislation by December 9th. So, in other words, Sanders' support was decisive under conditions which the outcome of voting was known in advance. So let's say that again. In other words, Sanders' support was decisive. I said divisive. Was decisive under conditions in which the outcome of the voting was already known because he approved it by unanimous consent. Not only that, he was a principal architect of the parliamentarian maneuver through which it passed. And this fucking guy is over here, Nick, on this video, out here trying to act like he's doing all this great shit when this fucker literally is over here approving unanimous consent.
That shows that all these politicians are full of shit, even the quote unquote best among us. How do people not have a criticism of this? Right? This is disgusting. And this is almost worse than what moderates do, because once again, this guy pretending he's on our side while he's screwing us. So
the white moderate.
Pretty disgusting.
All right, it's like 2 minutes left, not even 2 minutes left of this video. Let's listen to the rest. But now we read the article. Now listen to the rest of this with that as the backdrop. It's just lies that he tells here.
For the railroads has never, ever been better. They're rolling in money. And yet if you're a railroad worker today and you come down with COVID, if your wife is having a baby and you try to get some time off, you get penalized for that. You can get fired for getting sick in the railroads. And that is, literally unbelievable in the year 2022. And it just.
So again, why would you vote to expedite the strike breaking the strike, Bernie?
Just an extreme example of the kind of corporate greed that exists in our country today. As Congress winds down now, this session, it is clear to many of us that we have an enormous amount of work in front of us. It's not only dealing with the crisis facing rail workers, it's the absurdity that we remain the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave, something we got to deal with. We are dealing with the reality that in America today, tens of millions of our people are hurting. 60% of the American people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Nick, I have a question. What scenario do they actually deliver what they're saying? Even in their own story, even in Bernie Sanders' own story about delivering these things that people need, how is that going to be delivered, Bernie? You get what I'm saying? What is your strategy? How is this going to be delivered? You already saying there's a 60 vote threshold. So you would need 62 Democrats because you have Sinema and Manchin. Like, how is this going to be delivered, Bernie? You see how all he's doing is saying he's spinning a loss into a win that is not a win, and then he is saying, "We're going to fight for you. We're going to keep fighting." How is it going to be delivered? How? I don't see how any of this progressive stuff is going to be delivered, especially, Nick, and we can close here after your comments, especially Hakeem Jeffries, 52 years old, going to be there 30 years. None of this shit is coming up. You understand? None of this. How? Go ahead, Nick.
They're just as Democrats. They're just as Democrats in Bernie Sanders politics. The social democrat politics is literally just vibes. Just vibe. So Bernie, after everything fell, he just want a video. Like, don't worry, man. We just vibing, y'all. It's all good. We still got a plan. Don't give up hope. We don't want that negative. Don't bring that negativity here. Don't you ruin our vibe. That's what we're here to do. They're here to quell our anger, and we're not allowing them. We're not allowing them to do that anymore. We're not allowing them to censor us with using civility politics like they do. And then when we called him out, he said people. He called anti-war protesters. He said it was paid because he voted for war. This is what this guy has done. It's I wouldn't even say massive.
The question is, who's paying him? That's who the protesters should be asking him that. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, it just now we know. Don't trust these politicians. I have nothing else to say, but
It's
don't
terrible, man. It's just terrible that Bernie Sanders is not only a sheepdogger, a sheep herder, but now he's also a gaslighter. Like, is it a need for you to say Joe Biden's doing great? Is it a need for you to tell us this? You already got us to vote for this bastard. Now you want to tell people he's doing great. Now you want to tell people Democrats did like the spin, the freaking jujitsu, the language jujitsu he has to do to make this out to be a win. There was a victory and a loss in the Senate. What? Go ahead, Nick.
That's why I'm so glad that you corrected Ryan Grimm when he said that you guys want to Marjorie Taylor Greene. You're like, no, we want Kashama Sawant. Like, and that's go to the point where people say, oh, RBN is done with electoral politics. I said, we never said that. Give me a Rome and watch how fast I'll be excited about that. Right? People are excited for Bernie 24. I'm asking you guys, after watching that, after witnessing Bernie, why the fuck is anyone excited for 2024? Bernie's president, he's still funding Nazis. He's not. He see the fight and the cowardice in this guy. This guy not willing to use his army. Why would anyone be excited for 2024? So don't bring up electoralism to me until we get brand new leaders. I need to see Fred Hampton style, Malcolm X style, Rome style leftists. Bernie Sanders is as far as that as the ocean is wide at this point.
That's a great point. So I could do a couple announcements. You said, and then we can do your last two short stories and be done. It actually works out right because that was like about 30 minutes. But again, let me throw this up because email us if you're some person who has a lot of time, who's good at social media, who's good at Rumbles, who's good at what's the other one? TikTok, who's good at not doing TikTok videos, but just access to TikTok, access to Instagram, and you want to be part of our social media coordinating team, just the people that keep our social media going with posts and answering. It's just like we're growing so big, Nick. There's no way for us to provide a service on all this platform without help. Like so many questions people are asking and feedback, and people are responding to our content. So if you're somebody who is interested and has time to do that, email us. You got to have a Twitter account. That is a requirement because we do a lot of our planning through Twitter. So you have to be active on Twitter in order to do that. In the subject, put social media coordinator. Social media coordinator. So please do that. The other thing is 26,924. Our goal is to reach 30,000. So please keep subscribing. Double check if you think you're subscribed. Double check because all of us have stories of being unsubscribed. I was personally unsubscribed through my personal account from RBN about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it happens. So double check to make sure you have not been unsubscribed. Last thing, 328 likes. We had at 390 viewers. So 50 more. How about we get to 375? Let's get to 375 likes. And Nick, back to you for the last couple of stories.
Yeah, so let's talk about Israel. I'm a big fan of the World Cup. Like football, European football is like actually one of the few team sports I watch outside of combat sport. I find it extremely fascinating. And one of the best thing, hands down, has came out of the World Cup thus far is the community, the soccer community, the international community condemning Israel that has already been a genocidal state, but has completely lost their goddamn mind. And that's coming from even the liberal Zionist point of view. And this is because the United States is enabling Israel and Saudi Arabia's worst behavior. They are literally shielding the killing of journalists from Israel and Saudi Arabia. They're trying to block an ICC probe into Shireen Abdul Akleh. We're going to get into that very soon. They gave the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia immunity when it comes to killing Khashoggi and other journalists. So the biggest tyrant, as we continue to tell you, is the West. The new axis of evil is the United States, UK, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. So this is some breakdowns showing people who this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Like, you can't even talk about Israel without bringing up this glaringly obvious thing. Like, CJ, imagine like if the United States had a Trump movement 3.0. I'm talking about like Marjorie Taylor Greene, vice president.
Yeah.
Mike Pompeo. Like, and then you talk about United States, you're trying your best not to talk about that. you talk about the United States, you bring in the Lakers game. You're talking about everything except that super large political movement that just won. That is what it's like to talk about Israel right now. And that's why you see even mainstream media outlets, they have to say stuff like this. So I mentioned before the two-state solution, which is trash, by the way. Which is trash. The Israeli two-state solution, which essentially enables the Israeli state, because they're backed by the United States, to wage apartheid against the Palestinian state. And the two-state solution gives cover because it gives illusion that there's a fair bargain going on here, right? So Israel, with this new far-right, and it's not hyperbole to say extreme racists in their government. I'm talking about people who call Palestinian insects, bugs, say they should be purged from our society. These are people that got Benjamin Netanyahu sweating. This motherfucker a moderate next to these people. So look at this headline from the Wall Street Journal. As Israel left suffers defeat, so does two-state solution. Now, this goes to the point, a story we reported on a while ago. We had an Israeli expert who was a Zionist who was decrying. He's like, no, the two-state solution is great for us. Now Israel is straight up abandoning that. And they say, yeah, we run in society. Jews are on top. Everyone else is second-class citizens. Do something about it. That is the position of the government now, as the Wall Street Journal highlights. Now look at this. This is from The Guardian. And once again, CJ, this is what we do. I'm not even quoting radical outlets. And this is on purpose. I want you guys to see that even the centrists are saying this. So imagine the reporting that comes from our allies as well.
Wow.
The Guardian view on Israel's threat within right-wing extremism in government. So let's break this down. Well, we are funding an extreme genocidal racist government in Israel, and we are funding an extreme genocidal government in Ukraine. Do you see who the real bad guys?
What about Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's what I said. You think just good guys just hang out and fund bad guys? Here, let me pick up your tab, bad guy. Hey, Thanos, let me pick up your tab, Thanos. Like that's what good guys do. These are our friends because we are just like them. Go ahead.
Look at this. But once again, not even my radical ass saying this. Benjamin Netanyahu is playing with fire by giving racist politicians. So you can't describe the Likud group in Israel without using that, because they are flat out proud of it. We showed that tweet where they were giving rallies and speeches like, we're proud of our racism. Racism is protecting our state. He said, Netanyahu, the insane fascist. I remember growing up thinking he's as bad as it gets. It's so crazy seeing this, TJ. As someone who's been following this for quite some time, Netanyahu was the benchmark for such a long time. Like, way worse than Trump, one of the worst foreign leaders. And now look at the headline. He's playing with fire by giving these racist politicians control over the police in occupied territories. I guess that show says a lot about Netanyahu, though, doesn't it?
It does.
So I guess
what would be the equivalent for people that don't?
I'm gonna switch my take here. I'll back to you. CJ.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let me hear what the new one is. Go ahead.
Maybe maybe the media outlets are playing PR for Netanyahu a bit, aren't they? I just know. Once again, I'm just rethinking this a little bit because
it seems like the same person.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, maybe I should rethink how I'm framing these stories, because Netanyahu is not a good guy, and he's giving these people control over the police and territory. So apparently he agrees with them. So why do people pretend he's the sensible one? Now that I think about it, literally, I maybe should change my narrative on that. But CJ, what were you about to say? I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, go ahead, CJ.
No, I mean it was yeah. You hit a bunch of points. Where is my Okay,
yeah, I was trying to make this story a little bit faster than the last one.
Yeah, no, but the point that you were making about Netanyahu. So maybe to your second take, maybe they're calling, this is far right to make Netanyahu seem like the sane one, and then he comes in and be the more effective evil, similar to how the Democrats do.
Yeah.
So that could be sort of what's happening here. But just a side question: this two-state solution that they're pitching, does it give lots of land back to Palestine, like back to Palestinians? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you look at that map, they're still not going to give a lot of land to Palestinians. Come on, man. Even in their own sort of misguided two-state solution, they're not going to be doing that. But now that they've moved off of that, now they're talking about a one-state apartheid. I don't understand how America can just keep backing them and people and people not see through what's happening.
We are not,
but I think it's starting to happen through this World Cup is another example of how people in the United States are watching this and going, wait a minute, people don't like Israel. People are refusing. They're supporting Palestine. Like, what do you think Americans' reaction when they're hearing and noticing this that may never have heard this? Go ahead.
Remember the story we did a while ago, and I need to find this poll because it was brilliant. Remember how most Americans were shown they do not agree with Biden's stance on Israel if they know what it is? So most Americans looking at U.S. support for Israel, especially at this point, like, what the fuck this shit? Like, imagine if that was a ballot initiative. Should we send billions to Israel? That shit would get blown the fuck out. Like, guys, we got legalized marijuana in Missouri, a red state. We got a Medicare expansion in Missouri. We got a housing initiative in Missouri, a red state. The people are leftists. People understand their material needs if they have direct democracy. We are not a democracy. So with that said, imagine if there was a direct vote on Israel aid. That shit would get blown the fuck out. So another example how the United States is not a democracy. We are a capitalist dictatorship. What is our option? Who do we vote for if we want to end Israel aid? There's no option. There's no option through the ballot box to make that happen. So Americans, to their credit, and there's a lot of criticism of Americans on how apathetic they are, but there is no avenue for us to resist Israel. Like, I see people who want to. That go to this World Cup thing. People want to resist this, but we live in a capitalist dictatorship that spans oceans. Like, people in the UK.
So they eliminate the option through the electoral process. They eliminate it. So they eliminate communists. They eliminate any of the option. You get what I'm saying? They don't want you to have the option to choose anything but their choice that they want you. So they eliminate it. Go ahead, to your point.
Brazil had an option, and Lula is a friend of the Palestinians. Once again, these one thing that make that victory giant. He's huge. He's been a huge ally to Palestinians. Jeremy Corbyn, UK, they gave him option. They destroyed that guy. You see what happened? You see the difference in the West? Jeremy Corbyn destroyed that guy. Meanwhile, in Brazil, Lula wins on that platform in the global South. Isn't that something? Now let's continue this story here. I want to make sure we have time for the last one's really quick. That's why I think I can fit both of them, but we see. And this is another. This is from Middle East Monitor. To be honest, I'm not really sure where they stand on the Overton window. Let me know on the chat. But it said in Israel, there is no right or left. They're all extremists. To that point about Netanyahu, right? They're like, oh, Netanyahu's the mod. No, nigga, he's friends with these extremists. In the argument, I read this article, just to skim it, they list all the crimes of Israel. Like, they talk about the young Palestinians. Like, they mentioned a 22-year-old shot dead. And this shit changes every day because they are killing Palestinians literally every day, right? So the beginning of this article lists the people who Palestinians who were killed by Israel, and then they explain that there's no moderates in Israel because every single Israeli politician apologizes for this. So how can people apologize for this straight up genocide and two-state solution, and then they consider a moderate? That's why they say, even when you look at the Leopard Party and their critics, even they are extremists. But the government they have now is next level. This is a great article. Make sure you guys check that one out. I'm just trying to speed this segment up. Now, with that said, I kind of spoiled it here. I should have hit that. What is the United States response? Damn, I'm mad I spoiled that. What is the United States response to the far-right rise in Israel? You have the Banderites in Ukraine as getting ultimate political power right now, and the United States is fine with that, right? Now you have the far-right party in Israel that's straight up anti-democracy, straight up genocidal. Ukraine, Zelensky's a fascist against democracy. These are people who say they're standing for democracy. Or is the Biden administration going to stand up to these Israeli fascists? Nah, nope. We already knew. Anthony Blinken. For the Biden administration, there are no red lines on Israel. This came out yesterday.
Is it a strategic reason? I'm trying to see. Is it a strategic reason why they're going to the mat with Israel? Is it, this is our only strategic reason? And also, I would like to interject this: the selling of the whole narrative of terrorism and terrorists is key in why we fund. It's in the selling of the funding to Israel. It's like, look at Israel. They're the only beacon of democracy in this sea of all these Muslims. See how so let's fund them. Is it just a money laundering outpost? Is that what? Is just a permanent money laundering outpost? Yeah, that's the that they decided to say, hey, this is it. This is why. Go ahead, Nick. What is your
dude? U.S. Zionists are so malicious. There are people who've been theorizing this for quite some time. I literally hear different answers from different people, CJ. Like, there are people that say that the U.S. lost their mind because they were ran by evangelicals who really believe that they need to keep this as a Jewish safe haven for Jesus. But I don't believe that. I think a lot of people are just and this is kind of the Noam Chomsky approach where he says just AIPAC, power, U.S. politics, all about the money. AIPAC has the most money, that's why Israel dominates. And there's some people who really believe in ideological lines. A lot of people are racist, right? Their fathers were Klan members. The father was segregationist. So they look at the Muslims and what they view as the Holy Land. They say, let's purge these motherfuckers. So I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know. Because I've seen so many theories. Like, what drives this insanity of support towards Israel? I lean mostly towards the money angle. Just AIPAC strong. But there are a lot of different ways you can dive into this, right? Chuck Schumer and a lot of people got Jewish, Israeli heritage. So they pretend they're being good guys, but they know exactly what they're doing. Right, so that's a good question, CJ. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even have the 100% answer because these people are so crazy. Who knows what drives these people at this point?
Yeah, psychopaths. Who knows what drives?
You just have theories. Yeah. I want to read the first paragraph on this, because I only had a chance to skim it earlier. When J Street announced that Secretary of State Anthony Blinken was speaking at his national conference, it raised the possibility that the Biden administration has finally had enough. Faced with the incoming Israeli government dedicated not only to merely entrenching Israel control over millions of stateless Palestinians, but willing to threaten those to resist with expulsion. Perhaps the Biden administration would finally found a contradiction. Finally, they found a contradiction between his words and his actions. That's too great to bear. Since taking office, the president has repeatedly vowed that human rights will be the center of our foreign policy, even as his administration stood by while Israel criminalized Palestinian human rights groups and demolished homes in the West Bank. Maybe when faced with the prospect of unconditionally subsidize a government that has not only practiced apartheid but flirted with mass ethnic cleansing, the Biden administration will finally change course after all the crazy stuff that Israel has done this year. That hope has now been dashed. As they said here, that hope has now been dashed.
Oh, they really say that.
Yeah. I love how this article says this stuff. Maybe Biden will tell the truth and follow his promise of supporting human rights. Nah, that hope been dashed. He said in his speech, Blinken did not part ways with Ben Netanyahu, Bezalel, Smotrich, and these are some of the radicals in Netanyahu government, right? So that's what that article essentially breaking down. Like, yeah, the United States, there's no, and he go on explain when people ask like, what is the red line? Blinken's like,
there ain't no red line.
There's really none. There's really none. We got their back no matter what. And now you guys know why I spent so much. We have to spend so much time talking about this. Like, as a black man who horrified by how our ancestors were treated and how we are continuing to be treated, this shit literally this shit horrifies me. And the West goes along with it. CJ, I used to ask myself this question: how did people go along with Jim Crow in the Black Code in the day and back in the day? I couldn't believe it. Now I understand now as I'm a little bit older, wiser. But as a kid, I couldn't believe it that people will go the stands will be quiet about the genocide of the indigenous people, right? But we see that shit in real time, guys. There is a genocide of Palestinian people, and the West is just going along with it unapologetically. The same shit we are seeing. Why do you guys think black radicals speak out against this with such fervor? We see some shit. We see the similarities. So I actually prefixed that way too long, but it's still a good story. So all these crimes in Israel leads to why the United States Israel is starting to be boycotted in the World Cup. This is the last receipt just to build the crimes of the United States and Israel. Al Jazeera has been all over Israel because the death of Shereen Abdul-Akla, right? And they was going to recommend an ICC investigation. I explained before the Biden administration had purposely shielded Israel for the killing of journalists before, when they did a fraudulent investigation into this while dismissing other investigations that found Israel responsible. Now, the United States is just straight up saying they oppose the ICC investigating the killing of Shereen Abdul-Akla, where Israel targeted a prominent journalist. So this is my tweet earlier, and this is how we should frame it to all these liberals and all these people who think Joe Biden is lesser to evil. If you vote for him, you're complicit with evil. You understand? This is why I say people who know his crime, I'm not talking about people who are ignorant. The people who know what Biden does, you vote for him, that's disgusting. Joe Biden is helping tyrannical governments shield their killing of journalists. They granted immunity towards Saudi Arabia for killing Khashoggi. Now they are openly protecting Israel for killing Shereen Abdul-Akla. If you support the Democratic Party and you vote for Joe Biden knowing he does this, you are supporting tyranny. You are the enemy. Like, imagine someone like this is, to me, the same as voting for Trump. The same as, like, imagine how liberal would react if someone voted for Putin, right? But Biden is doing the worst than all of these people.
But this is the trade-off that the professional managerial class asks the working population and the poor to do all the time. Yeah. We got to sell out Palestinians. Yeah. But a chance at Medicare. No. Squad's not going to force that. But somehow down the line, when we get it, at least they'll be there. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's such a terrible trade-off where you have to sell out the worker across overseas in order to get what you want here. And the professional managerial class is absolutely fine with that, and it's disgusting to me. So we can close that out.
Yeah. So Morocco is just one of the many teams who raised the flag in solidarity with the Palestinians. And I will show you guys this article. And this is one of the best things that came from the World Cup because of all these crimes. There's almost like 2 Israel segments down there. I had to show you guys the most up-to-date Israel shit. And this is why the world is calling them out. And even in acknowledging this, the New York Times can't help but to do propaganda. And I'm going to explain here shortly. Look, Arab fans confront Israeli reporters covering World Cup in Qatar. And I was like, oh shit, they actually gave me a free article here. So I'm going to read this a little bit. and this has become such a prominent thing. And I'm gonna show you guys some examples that the New York Times and media outlets globally have to acknowledge it now. Israel in the West is losing public support. When asked, the United States was ranked the biggest terrorist threat in the world. Every single country voted to condemn Israeli apartheid except the United States and Israel. They have lost public opinion. The United States is just bullying everyone to shut the fuck up. That's why this is great. We're going to see more of this going on. As someone who covered this, not covered it, I have been doing this my whole life, but as someone who followed this my entire life, and I've seen the narrative be so far to the Israeli side, CJ. And I know you probably noticed this as well. I think, and maybe I'm being too optimistic, I think for the first time, we're starting to see a narrative shift towards the Palestinian side. Like, everything been so biased towards the Zionists for so long, but it's done. I think that age is over.
I think what it is, I think also part of it, Nick, is that people aren't just going, just letting the CIA talking points through the media be the only thing. People will go, oh, you say that about Israel? Nope. This, you get what I'm saying? Now it's more public. People are more public and like, nah, man, nah, like free Palestine. So that is the first steps to me to really breaking this wide open of just mass, full, wide support, where even progressive Democrats are going to no longer be able, they're going to have to either leave the party and stop running as Democrats. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, because right now they're still fine with selling out Palestinians. And I don't know how, I mean, we covered all the progressive Democrats. It's just sickening. I don't know how much longer this can go. Like, because it was fine when the mouthpiece was just the United States, and United States allies were willing to regurgitate what they were saying or just be silent. Like Africa, that's no longer the case. China came in and said, hey, we got y'all back. Now China, so you know what I mean? Like, just certain people who would be silent about these types of things because the United States had their nuts in a vice. That's no longer the case. No more. People aren't just gonna be silent. Now it's like, nah, this is terrible. Go ahead.
So I'll just skim a little bit of this, and I'm gonna show you guys some example of this, because this is snippets of the New York Times article. They gave me one of the free ones since it's been a while, so I was like, I'm spreading it for you guys.
Somebody sent me, I'll tell you offline, but somebody sent me something where we can view it for free. So I'll find out how
Dude, that'd be dope, because if I can get Oppo for New York Times to debunk for you guys, that should be dope. Like, that's why we got pulled for corporate media, because I don't got access to WAPO.
Yeah, we don't have access.
But guys, I will tear them to shreds, like I'm gonna do this article, because this article is highlighting something good, but they still put propaganda in there. I'm gonna explain here soon, right? Look at it. Look how it starts. Hold on, let me drink this real quick. It said when the Gulf Emirate of Qatar allowed direct flights to Israel so soccer fans can attend the World Cup, some took that as a warning. Sorry, took that as a sign of warming ties between Israel and the Arab world. Oh, you sweet summer child. So because the government of Qatar wanted to maximize the amount of money they can make, and they allow Israel fans in, these delusional Zionists was like, oh shit, we finally won, the Arabs over. So this article immediately started out funny to me. So they was like, oh, so we thought that, everything was cool. But instead, Israeli journalists, the most visible symbols of their country at the tournament have been berated or ignored by local residents and Arab visitors at times. A reminder that despite the 2020 diplomatic agreements with 3 Arab governments, that many ordinary citizens in the region still oppose relations with Israel. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. New York Times like, oh my God, the governments are cool though. Are you telling me the people don't agree with the governments?
The leaders. It sounds just like the unions. The union leaders and the rank and file, the people in the governments. They never represent. Go ahead, Nick.
Now, I'm spoiling this a little bit, but you guys notice the emphasis on the Arab? The New York Times know what they're doing. And I'm going to show you guys, it was not just Arabs. You guys see what they're doing? They were trying to make it an Arab versus Israeli thing.
Yeah.
All the media it's a Jew versus Muslim thing. No, everyone in the World Cup was calling out Israel. I kind of spoiled it there. But now look at this. The tournament has offered a rare moment of Arab solidarity. Are you sure? there are Christians in the region that are Arab that calls out the Zionist state of Israel. There are Arab Jews who call out Israel. And I always make this point. Guys, do not make the mistake of allowing the media and the neoliberals to make this a religious war. This is not. This is an issue of settler colonialism. So, and
we need to do a stream on that. We need to do
absolutely.
a stream on that specifically about what's happening over there is not about like that is something because a lot of people think that's what that is.
So you guys see this. I can't spoil it, but you guys see how even in this article where they talk about something good, they still sprinkle propaganda that I don't think most people will catch. I catch this stuff because I've been reading Zionist propaganda, anti-imperialist propaganda for a while. But there is Zionist propaganda even in this article that's sprinkled in here. At the same time, Arab fans, once again, not only Arabs, not only them, have rejected interviews with Israeli reporters and have gotten arguments about Israeli treatments of Palestinians. I must get into this part. In Jerusalem last week, a crowd of Israelis chanted, "Death to Arabs." They do this stuff all the time in Israel, guys. Remember, you know how the media will show Trump rallies? The average Israeli rally put Trump rallies to fucking shame. And you notice how they never talk about it? So I'm gonna show you guys.
The thing is, like, this the reason like this sham can't, it's like it's not sustainable, Nick. This whole sham is not sustainable. People are like this is not sustainable. And all the freaking footage that literally come out, Nick, the RBN account literally probably tweets like five retweets every single day from different is pro-Israeli groups or accounts talking about the violence, new violence. Somebody else died, somebody else killed, somebody else hurt. They're at a church and they're a funeral procession. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening over? But I'm just saying, like, these images, and we reshare, and then it hits people who don't know this stuff is going on. And then that's another person who's like, what the fuck is going on over here? There's lots of people. My wife was one of them up until years ago when she didn't understand why I didn't like Israel. She's like, but they're this and this and this. And I'm like, you just don't understand. And at the time, I didn't even understand how to explain that it was an apartheid state at the time.
Yeah,
I just knew about all the treatment. And I would just say all of this. And she would always, because you think it's because of the terrorism. That's what they're trying to project. They want you to think that the settler colonialism treatment is because of a retaliation for terrorism. That's what they want you to think.
Absolutely.
But it's the opposite. It's the opposite way around. Go ahead.
You guys know interracial marriage is illegal in Israel. So if you ever see a liberal praising Israel, that would Chuck Schumer in the Chuck Schumer liberals. They'd be like, oh my God, Israel's the beacon of democracy in the Middle East. Fucking apartheid states are not democracies, for one. That literally contradicts. So once again, you see I'm just for take of time. I don't want to read too much of that article. So I'm gonna move on to the next point. You see that article is trying to make it only an Arab thing, right? And we played this video. I showed this video before. Let me turn the sound on here. But does this look like an Arab to you? This person here, the Japanese fan. Oh, come on, video. What you doing? Let me play it. They just freeze. Oh, let me reload it. But this is the Japanese fan. I think we showed this on the channel before. This is one of them. Does that look like an Arab to you?
Channel. You don't like us?
Channel is this?
Israel channel. You don't.
That's a Japanese fan giving Israel the hand. And now you have this mega thread. And this was, guys, this is actually an older thread. This was November 26th. I saved it for this future segment. This is a large thread of World Cup fans refusing to engage with Israeli's report. I'm a mute. I'll just panel all these videos. There's one of them there. All these examples.
For Israel.
Wow.
No. Why? عربي اخبارك؟ الحمد لله. انت من لبنان؟ ايه. انا من اسرائيل يا اخي. انت من اسرائيل؟ مكسيكو. ما يعني
مكسيكو تسمع قلتش لك كهل مش طوب كهل متسانش مكسيكو.
What's are they Argentinian? I see an Argentinian jersey on that guy. Look, that Brazil. Look, this I think they just going on the jersey. He seems like he's an Argentinian fan. This is a Brazilian fan. Egyptians. This is a long thread. Like I'm just literally just saving time. We could play through all these. There's Iranian. That's the Japan video I found. There's a lot of videos in this thread, guys. And you love to see it. This is the best trend in the World Cup. And to wrap the segment up, the West and Israel is losing the battle of public opinion. And we love to see it.
And I'm loving it.
Let's see.
I'm loving
it. I'll be short. I cut this part. Actually, maybe I should say this for next time. Fuck. Yeah, I probably should say this for next time.
What do you mean, your other story, you mean?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's gonna take too long. So maybe in our next CJ, I'll do the next one.
But we can tease it. What is the story so people know?
I do a mini version of the story, right? Because I got more receipts to show. So I just do a mini teaser version of this. Because there's this video of Hillary Clinton on I think she was on Morning Joe on MSNBC, and she was talking about the Iranian protests. And now the Western media is in shambles because the morality police have not been seen in the last few weeks. And then Iran said, okay, we're going to loosen restrictions. And now I do want to be clear. We should keep pressure. The activists should keep pressure on the Iranian government, right? But the liberal corporate media have been having a meltdown because there goes your regime change. There goes your color revolution. Because now the government is starting to concede ground to the activists slowly at a time. Now you had the Chinese protests. The protests that the Western hypocrites, the people in Canada, they shut down the trucker protests. They called them fascists, white supremacists, for protesting against mandates. But then they protest against mandates in China, and now all of a sudden they're heroes. What did we say on this show all the time, CJ? Despite all the criticism that we may have, or anyone may have of China, they are a much more democratic society than we are. What was the response to in the United States when we protested our violent police state? The response to that was to fund the police more, tear gas, and then beat the shit out of us and pacify the movement. The United States is not a democracy. Now look at this, CJ. I saw this in the headline earlier today. U.S. color revolution people are devastated at the fact that China is actually a functioning democracy that That's why I'm kind of segment short because I was about to show you guys some reactions. But this is a teaser. I'll do the full segment later. China eases anti-COVID measures following protests. What?
I didn't know this was it. Yeah, this is because this is one I wanted to do too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a longer version of this later. But can you imagine us protesting and getting something, even any concessions? We don't. If you want to criticize China, and if you want to criticize Iran for not giving enough concessions, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue against people fighting their government. But when do we get any concessions in the United States? Anyway, full story coming. Well, I don't want to shortchange this. So I'll say that for our next live stream. So CJ, any other announcements? I'll probably be off tomorrow. I got a few errands to run. So I'll be back. I'll be back on Friday. At least in terms for me, and I got guests.
Yeah, I might be off just because.
Yeah, because usually we got Sabby and JB on Thursday, so I'll let they can carry tomorrow. I'll take tomorrow.
I did want to show this headline.
Yeah, go ahead.
If people didn't know, Tara Reid is trending right now And she's trending because of this article that recently came out here, and it's the opinion piece, and it says it's from the New York Times.
We gotta get Tara on
Investigate Tara Reid's, or Tara, I call her Tara, I said Tara, but it's Tara Reid's allegations, and it's an opinion piece from the New York Times. This is Professor Zonka's. Tara Reid was one of 8 women who alleged inappropriate touch by Joe Biden. She alleged sexual assault. The New York Times called for an investigation, and DNC refused. Her case was never officially investigated. Oh, this is an old article. Oh, so they're just but actually there's a new article. So that clip is old. This is the new article, my bad. The Newsmax article is new. And then they were just referencing an old article because of this new part that came out. So there is a push, and it says Tara Reid, who accused President Biden, Joe Biden, of sexual assault, pushes for a full investigation into the president and into Hunter Biden's investigation. So she's calling for both, and that's what this article is about. So that's why she's trending. So I just wanted to share why. She's a friend of the show. She's been on a couple of our summits. So just wanted to go ahead. Just wanted to make sure people.
We're gonna have Tara back on here soon. We're gonna have Tara back on soon. She's friend of the show.
Yeah.
That'd be a good time to have her on talk about this. I have a guest announcement probably on Saturday. I'm gonna try to have guests on Saturday. I'm gonna try to throw something together on my day off tomorrow. Reach out.
Okay.
So maybe I'll announce the guest maybe on Nick and CJ on Friday. We'll see. But anyway, that's all I have. CJ, anything else you wanna add to?
Yeah, I'll do the closeout videos. So and announcements.
Make sure you guys like. Make sure you guys sign to our Discord. Sign up to our Substack so you can get the Discord. And I'll probably post the link manually in our Patreon here either today or tomorrow. I've been posting a line there. It's a fun place to chat on the general chat.
It's active. People are talking all the time in there. Yeah. So it's a pretty active chat. So that's our Substack. Yeah, you can check out if you want. Yeah, I'll take care of this. That's our Substack. All right, Nick. That's our Substack. If you want to get access to our Discord, or you want to be on our mailing list to get notifications of when we go live or have links that we upload. What we're gonna end with today is but this video here. Am I on the right screen here? Yeah, okay, so I'm on the right screen. All right, so we did that video. We're gonna do this one because I love this video. Nancy's Angels. So we'll do this video as our closeout video for today. Where is but before we do that, the final announcements, of course, again, running the fundraiser. So whether you donate to CJ's birthday fundraiser or you donate to our equipment fundraiser, if you donate to the CJ fundraiser, make sure in the notes you put CJ fundraiser, so we know those funds go to the CJ fundraiser. If you donate to our equipment and labor fundraiser, make sure you put equipment and labor in the notes so we know where to designate that, because it's going to the same place. And again, I'm raising funds, hospital bills, food insecurity, car work needed to be done for my birthday. That's what I'm requesting. So I'll post it somewhere online and you'll be able to see it. Other than that, here is our closeout video. Again, thank you for joining the Nick and CJ show. Not sure. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be here. I may take the day just to relax, but I do like coming on, so I wouldn't really see it as work if I came on. We shall see how it goes. I don't know what the family has planned. That's why I can't really make plans. But thanks again for watching, and this was the Nick and CJ show.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little girls who went to Congress.
Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that?